The burglar who broke into my house saved my marriage. The sound of shattering glass woke me at 3 a.m. I grabbed the baseball bat from under my bed and crept down the hallway, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. A man dressed in black was standing in my living room, flashlight in hand, frozen like a deer caught in headlights, but he wasn't looking at me. He was staring at something on the floor near the couch. I followed his gaze, and my entire world collapsed. My wife was lying there unconscious, an empty pill bottle clutched in her hand, her lips already turning blue. The burglar dropped his flashlight and ran out the back door. I didn't chase him. I couldn't. I was already on my knees, screaming my wife's name, shaking her, begging her to wake up. I called 911 with trembling hands while trying to remember everything I'd learned about keeping someone alive. The paramedics arrived in 8 minutes, but it felt like 8 hours. They pumped her stomach in the ambulance while I sat there useless, watching the woman I loved fight for her life. I kept thinking about all the signs I'd missed, the way she'd been pulling away from me for months, the fake smiles at dinner, the way she'd stopped talking about the future. I thought she was just stressed from work. I thought we were just going through a rough patch. I had no idea she was drowning right in front of me while I did nothing but watch television and complain about the bills. The doctors stabilized her by morning, but the look in her eyes when she woke up and saw me sitting there destroyed me completely. She didn't want to be saved. That's what she told me when we were finally alone. She said she'd been planning it for weeks, waiting for the right moment when I'd be asleep and wouldn't find her until it was too late. She said she felt invisible in our marriage, like she was just a roommate who shared my bed. She said she'd tried to tell me 100 times that she was struggling, but I never listened, never really heard her. I just nodded and went back to my phone or the game or whatever was more important than my own wife's pain. She was right about everything. I'd become the kind of husband who was physically present but emotionally gone. I'd stopped asking about her day. I'd stopped noticing when she cried in the bathroom. I'd stopped being her partner and became just another piece of furniture in the house. The police caught the burglar 3 days later. His name was Derek Hollins, a 26-year-old with a drug problem and a string of break-ins across the neighborhood. When the detective told me they'd arrested him, I asked if I could see him before his arraignment. The detective thought I wanted to confront him, maybe yell at him for violating my home. Instead, I sat across from this skinny, scared kid in an orange jumpsuit and said 2 words that made him burst into tears. Thank you. If he hadn't broken into my house that night, I would have slept. Through my wife's final moments, I would have woken up next to her cold body. I would have spent the rest of my life wondering what I could have done differently if I'd only known. This burglar, this criminal, this stranger who came to rob me, gave me something more valuable than anything he could have stolen. My wife and I spent the next year rebuilding everything from the ground up. She got the help she needed, real help, with therapists and medication and support groups. But I had to change too. I had to learn how to actually be present in my own marriage instead of just occupying space. I learned to put my phone down when she talked. I learned to ask questions and actually listen to the answers. I learned that love isn't just a feeling. It's a choice you make every single day to show up for the person you promised to cherish. We renewed our vows on our 10th anniversary, and this time I meant every word in a way I hadn't understood before. The officiant asked if we had anything to add, and my wife smiled and said she was grateful for second chances, even the ones that come from the strangest places. Derek got 18 months for the break-ins, and I write to him every few weeks to let him know how we're doing.